What does it mean to be an empowered woman? Hello and welcome to a new episode of When Power Podcast. Today I'm here with a guest whose fight is transforming lives. Adama Nyama Bah is the founder and director of the Women's Health Advocacy Network, an organization dedicated to empowering communities to advocate for their health and access to quality care. Thank you, Adama, so much for being with us today on When Power Podcast, and welcome.
Thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to be here today.
I am so excited to have you with us today and to give you the opportunity to share your story and the incredible work that you are doing. Before we dive deep into the question that I prepared for you, I have a particular one, which I like to ask to all my guests. And it's, what is that you fighting for today?
My fight for today is to motivate, inspire, and encourage survivors to break the silence and seek help, especially for the marginalized survivors who have multiple barriers in addition to their trauma. That's my fight, to build or create a one-stop platform where they could have their voice heard, where they could do whatever they do, empower them, where they could walk in and get all their holistic health need addressed under one roof, but also for them to get their voice and their power back. That's my fight.
It's a very important fight, the one, and it's not just for today. I think it's for the future. And I believe probably you're dreaming about a future where you don't have to fight this anymore,
No,
because
no, I know.
is the norm for women and for survivors to have a space where they can start to thrive again and to have their voice heard.
Yeah.
A word that you mentioned is survivors, and to help our audience understand better who you are and what brought you to launch and create this network, I would like to start from your story, because eventually all our fights, what we stand for, starts from our
That's
own
the
story.
story. The story behind One Charity is basically a reflection of my journey. A journey of experience of FGM at the age of 12, the sexual violence at the age of 14, and be raped by 5 men in one night, not having anyone to talk to. You have this massive thinking. You feel like your head is being intoxicated. You want to get it out, but you can't. In a society where you have to protect the family name, you have to protect the community, you have to protect yourself in the future of the stigma of not getting partner because you have been sexually violated by many men. In that world, being raped is like, it's your fault. You either say something you're not meant to say, or you have done something you're not meant to do, or you're wearing the wrong clothing, or it's a war. Just get on with it. And as a child, you have this big burden, and you don't have anyone that you can share with. No one. In fact, with addition to the barrier and the burden, you have to keep quiet. And when it comes to the FGM, it's something that is celebrated.
Mm.
Our fathers, forefathers, grandfathers, our husbands, uncles, they don't know the harmness of FGM because our mothers and our grandmothers and our aunties never spoke about it. And something that is celebrated, how can you go and sit and tell them, actually, this is really affecting me?
Mm.
How can you tell anyone that? And then I came to UK, I was more lost. Now, additional barriers. I was struggling not just with the trauma effect, the symptoms, the lust, the shame, the anger, the guilt, everything. I'm also dealing with language barrier here. I'm dealing with cultural barriers. I'm dealing with the challenges to access mainstream support. I find myself in a world that I'm the only one that can speak the language I speak. And nobody seemed to understand me. And I'm in the middle of millions of people. And I'm living in two worlds. I'm living in this wall of reality for me that is dangerous. And I got my own wall where it's safe and validate whatever I'm thinking. Say, okay, I want to commit suicide. Oh, yeah, that's a good idea. I don't want to socialize. Oh, yes, that's fine. You don't need to socialize. But in reality, that wall is not the real wall. But you're scared to come to the real wall. And this wall I was, apart from this real wall, is like the fence is like concrete fence, a very, very dark brown concrete fence. And this fence is like the height of 18 to 20 story building. Okay. And inside there is a massive compound where you can build 4 or 5 other houses. Within that compound, you get a small house in the middle. This house got a veranda, it got a living room, it got a room, and inside the room, you got it on the cellar. That's where I was before I started my therapy. That is the other wall I was living. Because that wall, I could crawl back and just feel okay, comfortable there. But I know in reality, that's not the wall I meant to be. But anytime I come out of this other real world, the triggers are all over the place. You have conversation, you hear conversation where they say, oh, those people, they wanted to be raped, the way they dress, the way they did. And every day you look at the television, it said, oh, the crime night. This person was raped in their house. This person, it feels like it's everywhere. And the most sad thing in that journey, apart from having a clinical psychologist who probably have academic understanding of trauma, you don't have anyone to prepare you. The expectations, no one. You just going along. You get these feelings. You don't know whether they are right, whether it's the trauma. Your head is all over the place. You don't know who to talk to, the stigma, the cultural barrier of not talking about sex. Sex is not discussed in the culture I came from. It doesn't at all, let alone you talk about trauma. It doesn't exist. They don't even know what is that. There's a lot of stigma, especially with the marginalized women. The extra barriers is there. And then they introduce me to this system, say, this system will support you. Like, okay, finally I got something that is working. And this system I find out to become, it's like an alien built this system that doesn't understand the human feeling. And this is not just my experience. This is other survivors that I have supported. This is the same thing we face here. You don't know who to talk to. The same system is aggravating your trauma, the triggers, asking you for evidence of something you want to forget. They look at you like you are here to, like you're a criminal. You are here to exploit the system. I have got called that, oh, because I am fighting to become independent because I don't want to rely on people. That's my defense mechanism. That was interpreted to be like, oh, I'm just milking the system. After 17 years of therapy, I reflected back and say, how many women will be out there struggling, probably worse than me, who are illiterate? They have no formal education. Language barrier. I came from an English speaking country. I struggle because I have my trauma barrier, which the language in that is quite different. So I said, if I can give my voice just to motivate these survivors of sexual violence to come out and seek help, because a life of trauma is not a life. So this is the reason why I came out, to help survivors through their journey, help them address the practical needs affecting their existing mental health. We are talking about housing, immigration, you name it. To inspire, motivate, encourage them to seek help. To help service providers in modifying and improving services to address the needs of survivors, because it's not there. I am a survivor. I am a clinician. I work in the NHS. I'm a colposcopist. It's not there. Not throughout that journey. I did not go to gynae department and see trauma-informed support plan. No. I went through 11 pregnancy, 9 miscarriages, 2 lovely child. Not a day I went to the obstetric department and see a trauma-informed plan. Even though my trauma was part of the referral, they were already aware of it. I had to get my psychologist to write to my consultant obstetrician how to manage my delivery. But there isn't any trauma-informed plan in the system. Now, and you go to social services, they look at you like, oh, here we go again, another story, and that's it. And they got these tick boxes, and I don't fit into tick boxes because I did not take part in research. And the policies and guidelines are drawn out of research. And therefore, the service provision is drawn out of those policies and guidelines. And I wasn't there. I did not take part. So therefore, I do not fit into tick boxes. And if I don't fit into tick boxes, I'm out. Sometimes we can able to prevent some of this trauma. But if these individuals are not fit into the tick boxes, they are sent out, they are exposed to risk to their perpetrators because they have nowhere to go, especially women who have no recourse. I had a recourse and I struggled. So I cannot imagine for them. So to support service provision in that regard and to educate the public about the effect of trauma. So this is my true journey. Whoever listened to this podcast and listened to my voice will understand. When you get sexually violated, is when you're living the way I could express it to you, when you're living in a newly built home, but it's your home. You're very comfortable in that home. Outside, everybody want to enter the home, but inside is demolished. You're lost. Now you got a task for the rest of your life to identify who you are. So the first effect of trauma is lost. So at that point, anything anyone say, that's what you follow. Because you think if that happened, that will address your trauma. But it doesn't. You're lost. Shame, guilt, anger. And on top of all that, being a marginalized woman, you have to protect the identity of the family and the culture. Additional responsibility. You come here, they expect everything. They expect you to be this, they expect you to be that. No one take a hoot about your life, even if it's in front of them that, oh, this person have gone through this. To them, it's another story. When I had FGM, I was disconnected with my body. I came here, I went through therapy. I still was not connected. I feel like something is wrong, something is not right. Until when I had FGM surgery, defibrillation, and have counseling separately for FGM, that's when the puzzle came together. I have no one to tell me that. I have the complications of FGM. I struggle with my sexual life. I struggle. Urinary frequency, every other hour I go to the loo. GP refer me to A&E. They don't all refer because the professionals don't understand. You go to have delivery. That's why I told the other midwives the other day when I went to do some training. I said, these women come to you to deliver. You just say your husband need to be here. Do you ask them if they actually want their husbands to be there? Because sexual act in our culture happens at night. So the men don't get to see the women properly. They are ashamed to be exposed in front of their husbands. And you tell them the husband need to be, as anyone just take a little step back and say, do you actually want your husband to be there? They follow the flow because that's for them authority. Where we came from, authority, like lawyers, doctors, whatever they say, we accept. But it's not every woman want their husband to be there because they don't want their husband to see that part of them. But they don't. They never get that anyone to ask them that question. You know, no one to the professionals don't understand. Where you came from, you don't talk about it. It's a taboo. You don't even talk about it to your next friend. And whatever struggle you're going through the men, the women are struggling with the demand of the sexual part of their marriage. Therefore, the men's, because they don't understand FGM is nothing to do with harmness because they never heard from their mom or their grandparents. So all of a sudden they said, now our wives are in white man country, that's how they call it. And now they're making fuss about this thing. Our moms never made fuss about this thing. And therefore, these men will go and either they're having an affair or they'll go and marry another wife. And they demoralize these women, make them look inferior, incompetent, because they're not able to keep up with the sexual demand. And you got marriages breaking up. They go to the living room, they sit there, they said, oh, we're going to amend this marriage. They talk about everything else apart from the actual thing that's breaking the marriage, which is the sexual part of it. So these are all the reasons why WHAN charity exists.
I just wanted to say that this is a system also with rules dictated by men that have absolutely no idea what's happening with women bodies, and they are blocking all this progress, and they are the one creating this issue for women. If there was a more holistic approach, a system in place, knowledge, training, anything, I think life for survivors, for women, for in general, for when we talk about healthcare for women, it would be much, much, much better, no?
Yeah, these women don't have any platform, not where they came from, not where they are.
Exactly.
And the system expect them to know everything. Online, go to the app, go online, go to the app. 80% of these women I support have no formal education. They are ashamed to say we cannot read and write. Where are they going to express their needs? Where? It's not there. And yes, still so much resources is poured into this system. And the data is coming out to look nice. We have done this, we have done, but the same people they are doing it for, trying to access it over and over and over because it did not work for them. These are the women I'm fighting for.
I want to take the chance to say thank you for sharing your story. I know that it's not I'm grateful that you found in When Power in this podcast the space to share it, and I hope that the audience that is following us today will read more about your fight, read more about the WHAN charity, and trying to see also how they can support and help in this journey. I want to ask you, because you already mentioned a lot of things that you're already doing, and also you work as a clinician, so you do have a full-time job as well, and you're working with the charity. I'm curious to understand what is concretely that you're doing with WHAN, with the charity. What are the programs or action that you're putting in place? Is there a network that is supporting you, and how do you balance this with your full-time job?
When I started, when the idea of WHAN came about, I was working 3 days a week. And I said, okay, UK, there's a lot of organizations who are doing this kind of thing are probably not needed. But somehow in my head, through my journey, for the fact that I never met anyone that revealed their trauma, so I feel like my voice will be somewhere, but not in a higher scale. But I knew that I had to get my story out to get that kind of community to
Hmm.
talk. Because unless they said, if she can do it, so can we, they won't talk. And I don't blame them, because if they talk, if you fall on that, yes, why you want to speak if someone is not listening to you? So I said, I need to get my story out there, and then it will motivate people to come. And then I started getting one charity was registered 2020 in the middle of lockdown. It's not a long time. I
Hmm.
started actually implementing 2021. So I did my first sign posting. It did not work because the mainstream services I did the referral does not know what to do with that woman. And therefore they close the door. It's easy to say you are not entitled. They get their tick boxes. We've done this, we've done this, we've done this. And the woman feel like her needs is not going to be addressed properly. So that stays. Then I find myself like, if I really want to make impact in the life of these women, I really have to be in between
Hmm.
the service users and the service providers. So when I refer, I support the service providers, whatever service it is, explain to them, advocate the need of these women, because not every of one of them are able to be vocal and talk about their life. So I advocate their need and ensure that what they're entitled to, they get it. So that's how I started making an impact. And then after 1, 2, then the community, I start doing some community engagement, because obviously sex is a taboo. You don't talk it in our community. And I start talking about it. So I start having these conversations. I start engaging community leaders. I start engaging the men. And now some of my clients have been referred by men within the community.
Hmm.
So I break that silence. I break that barrier. Okay. So this is how I keep on going, and I start getting category of women. It meant for big women, girls, women and girls. And then I start discovering this elderly population who start coming for help. They are destitute.
Hmm.
They had no recourse. Some of them are living in the life of sexual exploitation just to survive, because they don't have anyone to turn to. Some turn to the community. The community exploit them, modern slavery, a lot. Basically, that's their life. So I get this group of elderly women that I support. I get this organization I work with, CAD HR. They provide free legal service. So I work with the director. So when I started, me and him start working. I'm doing the advocacy, he's doing the legal work. So we start making an impact. I say, we can take this further. Now this collaboration is looking really good, and we're able to address the needs of these women. Then we get these women, this one-to-one support we provide, people who work with their trauma journey problems. I do one-to-one support. And also, I got a group of women I support through education and training to empower them. These are women who are living in unseen and unspoken abuse, no education. Even those who are educated, they've been here, they just seen themselves as a housewife, bearing kids, cleaning the house, cooking. One of them told me that, I said, when she used to sit down and see people touching the computer, she wonders what they do with that keyboard because she has no formal education. And in her dream, it's like to have to learn something.
Hmm.
But all she see herself is having kids, cleaning the house, and that's it. That's her life. Okay. And these are the women I supported, 20 of them, through child minding training to economically empower them, financial independency. Some of them will not have to depend on their abusers financially, build their confidence and their self-esteem. Because if you see them say they are living in an abuse, we're dealing with a very complicated and complex community. You go there and say, oh, you have been abused. What other option do you have for them?
Hmm.
That's the only option they have. But if you support them better, and they will turn around and look, say, my life is better than what it was. So I'm walking away. So in a way, this is another way where how one charity support their survivors. We do one-to-one, we do groups. And because of our collaborative work in making an impact like that, so I told the director of CAD HR, Askia, I said, I want to take this to a different level. And my dream is for one charity to have a center where women can walk in and have all their holistic health need addressed by people who understand their journey, their trauma, their culture, their language. So he said he will help me to build. So that's how we come with Community Health and Law Center. It's a project of one charity. But since we started this journey, apart from that funding we had for these elderly women, and then taking my own money and the director also taking his money, putting it in that pot, we have not had any sustainability funding. Last year, we got 2 funding, which helped me with my volunteers, but it has been self-funding. So right now I'm struggling. I have put hold on all new referrals. But before I was doing that, I was getting nearly 10 referrals a week.
Well, I hope if there is someone that is listening to us today that has maybe is a, I don't know, is a sponsor or deals with funding, you can get in
Please.
touch with Adama, please, through the one charity. We share the contacts at the end. As I think already with what you have, you're doing an incredible work and a much needed work. But obviously, you can't continue. It's not sustainable, and it's not. You cannot see very
Yeah,
further in the future if you don't have
yeah, yeah,
funding or money
yeah,
to
yeah,
keep going with
yeah,
your action. So
yeah.
let's see if When Power can help in this way with the people that are following us today on this
Please.
podcast. Um, in your experience, I'm curious to know when we talk about trauma and we put that in combination with gender and also with migration, I believe there is 3 layers. These 3 layers are very deep, interconnected, and they can even make more complicated a situation for a woman in another country. So based on your own experience and based also on the stories that you heard, what happens at the intersection of these three?
It's more than 3.
Hmm.
It's not just 3, it's more than 3. Trauma, gender, migration. Then you're fighting with a system. Then you're fighting the language. If people speak, you think they're going to kill you because you don't understand what they're talking about. And you look at the system, the interpreting system, some of these our traditional languages are not there. So the needs are not modified. Migration, home office doing interview. You are from Guinea. They said you are French. They go and find. Not everybody speak French from Guinea. Some of them are not educated.
Hmm.
Not everybody speak English from Sierra Leone. No, it's an English-speaking country, but not everybody speak English. And these interpreters in this interview, they don't tell home office that we don't understand what these people are saying because they want to collect their money. So therefore, the outcome of those cases is negative. It's a lot of barriers. Migration, you come to a different country. You are confined in a room. I got a heavily pregnant woman who was sexually violated started from the age of 10 up to the time she landed into UK. Okay? She was confined in a hostel in a little loft. That alone is claustrophobic. You know, she was confined in that room. the receptionist in the reception there, they are horrible. And I don't know if Home Office is going to always recruit in one place. Because all their receptionists seems like they all got the same personality against these people. She cannot speak the language. The food is the worst, like they're cooking for animals. She she fell down, going unconscious. She doesn't know how to dial for emergency. It was the cleaner that found her. Her room is right up like a loft. If that cleaner hadn't found her, and she would have died of food poisoning, she ended up in hospital, and they put her in isolation. She doesn't understand why she needs to be isolated. She thought it's because of her trauma or what she came on. That's why people are running away from her. I had to go in and explain to her that she went in with salmonella, food poisoning, and she was 8 months pregnant. So that she has to be in isolation because that spread. That's when she understand, because she couldn't understand when the nurses are coming in, everybody dressed. She feel like she's contagious, she's contaminated. There is no trauma individual, dedicated person to do things like this. Most of my clients in immigration centers, I cook for them. Because just to get that feeling of that cultural food, make you feel human.
Yeah.
They're taking everything away from them. Their identity have been taken them away. They are living in the middle of a hostel, total strangers. They don't know anyone. They don't know who to communicate with. Everything is taken away in addition to their trauma.
Without considering that maybe they are escaping from a war, from
No.
persecution, and they're not coming here on a vacation. They are coming here because
Well,
they're running
they're there.
away.
Exactly. They're there because they came in to act for protection
Yeah.
for their life. That's why they've been confined in there. And they will stay there. Some of them will stay there a year, 2 years while they're thinking. So when they come out, the mental effect is huge. It is bad. So in terms of immigration, it's bad. In
Yeah.
terms of coming with the trauma, it's even worse if you're going through immigration here.
And plus on that, you
And
put
as a
that they are
woman,
women. Yeah, exactly. They are
and you are
women.
marginalized community, you have no say.
Absolutely.
Because you have double trauma, you don't want your husband. A lot of people don't seek help because they don't want their partners to know that they've gone through that, so that they won't lose their loved ones. These are some of the stigmas, not just the cultural stigma, but for them as well. They want to feel like they're having a normal life. But the trauma have a habit. Whenever you're in a safe space, that's when it comes back. You got to deal with it. Because if you don't, at the end, you will become the culprit. You will become the bad employer. You will become the bad mother. You will become the bad auntie or whoever you are. Instead of you becoming the victim, you will become the culprit if you don't deal with trauma. That's what trauma does. And people keep this secret. They keep it, they keep it, they keep it. Sometimes you could see their loved one saying, I can see her personality changing. I don't know what's wrong with her. Well, that's what is wrong with her.
Another important topic that you work with WHAN charity is maternal health. And based on your experience as a clinician, so on what you see in the NHS, but also what you're doing with your charity, what is missing to ensure that maternal health becomes a focus, and especially that we look at all women from all culture, from all background, and we give them the treatment and the support that they need?
Training. There is a huge lack of training. And that is actually urgently needed, because that is having so much impact negatively on patients. So much impact in addition to their trauma. Training. Training, as experience of being a survivor with my journey, encounter the hospital appointment or health service, gynae, obstetrics, they lack. Like I said, my journey, my psychologist have to make a plan, a bad plan for me, to send it to my obstetrician when it's time for my delivery. But there was no dedicated individual to say, this is a trauma-informed staff that, because sometimes they know, some of our referrals, we know, oh, this person has been sexually violated. We know, it comes in the referral. But there's no dedicated trauma specialist. Among midwives, I did not see it. Because I did not go to all the hospitals in UK. Two hospitals I navigate, but I did not see it. And I had 11 pregnancy, 9 miscarriages. I did not see it. I work as a colposcopist in gynae. Before I work as a colposcopy, I was a gynae nurse. I did not see it. And now I'm a colposcopist. It's still not there. I do what I can because I understand. They don't understand. Recently, it's like a training, but a talk about FGM update for midwives and doctors. I was called in to do that. I told them I don't have slides because I'm a survivor. I will never forget me being stuck within the legs of a woman, 6 a.m. in a washyard with just gravel and water, with a penknife deep down my skin. I will never forget that. So I do not have slides. What I am saying today, majority of you might not like it, but that is the reality. I might traumatize you with my story, but your trauma probably is half an hour until you leave here. But for me, this is my life. Day in, day out. And I deal with the complications of this, the effect of this. After I finish my topic, and then this midwife say, thank you. I do not have a question. I have been a midwife for certain years. And now I have been doing FGM update and all that. Today is the first day I actually understand how it's done and how it's affecting individual. So I said, wow. So I could only imagine how many women have gone through that same midwife with those problems, and she has ignored and think they're just telling story because she doesn't understand. Training. And not just training by people who understand the journey. This is why I want survivors to break the silence, the barriers, and speak out. Because if we become part of the services, we become part of the service modification, service plan, service provision, the others will have a better life. But as long as survivors' voice are not part of these plans and support, it will still be the same. Because those who are providing this training do not understand the journey of these people.
You mentioned men before because you said that there are few of the referrals that arrive at the one charity are coming from men. So how do you make sure that you can engage men and also broader communities? So let's look outside of the Sierra Leone communities in discussion about women's health, particularly in societies where these topics are a stigma or a taboo.
I think women are looking for platform to come out. They are tired. It's because they don't have the right platform. So we engage with community leaders, and most of these community leaders are men. We engage with other grassroots community organizations, leaders. I tell my story, and they can feel it. And they see the ones who walk through that door, the support I give to them. And the effect of the support, they can see the phenomenal changes on the lives of these women I support. So that's how I get them hook up into the conversation. That's how I get them.
We see that worldwide the conversation around reproductive rights and gender equity is increasing. Thanks God, we're talking about this more and more. I'm curious to know, how does the one charity connect with other organizations and other global movements? Perhaps do you is there any other association in your network that is doing similar work in other country? And also, I'm curious to know if you are doing something back home in Sierra Leone.
Oh, yes. The whole intention of One Charity was to go back home and help those women, those who had the same experience as me. One time I went for holiday. I met one of these women. Her first daughter was through raping, and she's there. And she married, she got her kids. I went to visit her, and I was looking at the child. That's when I said, I look at my life. I'm lucky enough to be here. Even though I fight with the alien system, but I still survive because I'm resilient. But these women, they don't even know this part of the life. They don't even know that this life exists. So I said, what can I do? And then I came home, I having this discussion, and one of my nephews said, you can open a charity to support. I said, no, I can't because I'm working. I got to find living. And he said, you can. So I left that in my mind. When I came back, I met one of my trustee, is a consultant gynecology obstetrician where I work. So I went to him and said, what do you think? I want to do something, but nothing big because I got work to do. And I feel like when you go charity, because this big charity is a lot of things. And he said, you can open charity. I will support you. I said, really? He said, yes. He said, small thing. Because if I knew this is what going to happen with one, I probably at that point will not do anything because I will be scared. So I said, you will help me? He said, yes. He said, first, let's get an accountant. Because if you are going to include Sierra Leone, we need to register the charity for both UK and Sierra Leone. So let's get an accountant. Then I met this accountant. But it's an accountant I know before. He's a Sierra Leonean. He's the guy who would tell a frog, toad, a frog,
Yeah.
that they can fly. That much he can inspire people. So I got men inflicted trauma on me, and I got men around me who elevate me. And he said, when I explained to him my journey, not in details, I said, I'm a survivor of sexual violence. So I want to set up the charity. And the consultant said, we can do it. And he said, I'm with you all the way. This will change lives. For that reason, I will always support you. He is the one that registered the organization. The lawyer, as part of my trustee, he always believed, he said, this will change life. So therefore, I am in. So that's why they all came in. They have no idea what I'm doing. I'm the one doing the day-to-day running, but they are passionate and they are supporting me in the background. But the biggest support is from the director of Cardicha. He's the one that helped me take this organization from there to there. And Edwin, my accountant, he's always with us through the way. I could call him day, night. He's always there. What can we do? What can we not do? So my relationship internationally is not much. I have tried to register the charity in Sierra Leone, but I'm not doing much there. It's just the structural stage, honestly. I have involved in some radio interviews to raise awareness of what I'm doing. Yes, but the problem is here. So I want to strengthen here first. The problem is big in UK because there is no service, trauma-informed service. So I want to focus. But if the opportunity comes from out, my voice is for the whole world.
You can inspire women everywhere in the world. There are listeners.
So that's my connection.
Yeah, there are listeners on When Power from in the US, in India, Australia, and New Zealand. They listen to When Power from all over the world. So I'm sure you're gonna touch some important connections. So let's get your voice out there.
Well, that would be more work.
Well, I mean, maybe
Good work.
opportunities, good work, more work and opportunities.
Yes.
To conclude this interview, I I want to ask you one last question. It's a call to action to everyone that is listening to us today. So, if there is, if they want to support or get involved with WHAN, they want to volunteer, they want to help you, what's the best way to contribute to your mission, and how can they get in touch with you?
WHAN charity is like you said, is a voice for the whole world, for all survivors around. So I want charity to have a robust system that could modify the needs of this individual. So I'm asking for donations. I'm asking for funding. I'm asking for expertise. I'm asking for anyone that knows anything that could take WHAN charity to the next level. I am the one that started WHAN charity, but WHAN charity is a voice of survivors. And I want every survivors to step in, come with your ideas, come with anything, take it to the next level. Because that is my goal. WHAN charity is just a platform, but my goal is my voice to go out there for survivors not to live the life they live in, because it's not a life. Let the system have an organization that actually providing what they said they provided.
We are with you in this call. So again, we will share in the description of the podcast your website or the link to your social media. And I hope that someone out there is listening to this story, to this message, and would like to get involved and to support you in any way they can. At the end, as I always say, we empower together. We empower women. So it's the whole network that will listen and will try to do what they can to support. Um, Adama, thank you very much for being with me today to share your story, to open up, to be vulnerable, to make us reflect on what does it mean to live with trauma and how much courage it takes to uh, speak. And
Someone has to speak.
someone has to. So
If my voice can change 2 lives of some people who have gone through trauma, I have succeeded. I'm on the revenge. This is my positive revenge. Because the people who inflicted the trauma on me, I cannot take them to court. I don't know them. I can still smell them, but I don't know them. Getting every woman to break that barrier, take your power back. So that's my message today.
thank you very much again.
You're welcome.